a solution.
Yeah.
Before I just went and was like,
Yeah.
that's a lot, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And let's get started. It's all you. No. It's the Jeff Schroeder show. Ready?
That's fast. Sorry. No, y'all are probably looking at that like that's the. Oh. Gotta go up all the other devices. I have 9 o'clock now.
All right. We'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Garvey.
Present.
Councilwoman Workala.
Present.
Councilman Brennan.
Present.
Councilman Harjo.
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
Present. Let the record reflect we do have a quorum for Friday, April 11th, 2025 at 9. Appreciate all the councils taking their time out for this. We'll run down to action item number 1, deliberation decision to unfreeze the unfilled police department lieutenant position. Council, what do you want to do?
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo?
I have a quick question in terms of what your thoughts are on approximate timeline to hire, if this were to open, what the timeline to hire for that would be, and then what thoughts we have on a timeline for filling empty chief position when that happens.
So the chief's, obviously the resignation is the 30th. We have that actively opened. I know we have applications currently. I haven't dove into those, and then the chief has been gone. I want him to be a part of that process, especially the lieutenant process as well. I try to let department heads pick their positions, whether it be patrolman, corporal, lieutenant, and I think, and Ty, since you're here, isn't that how that process usually works up at the PD? Like you guys do your hiring through like some sergeants, through some LTs, the chief for your, so that's quintessentially what is it. I know we had applicants the last time the chief said for the LT, so I'm sure that I'm assuming, I can't speak for the chief or Ty, you probably start reaching out to them again and then open it back up.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Sooner rather than later. So if you guys unfreeze it today, it'll go out today, open today.
Okay.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Mayor, I just am in support of unfreezing it today. I'd like to make a motion to approve to unfreeze the lieutenant hiring position.
Do I have a second?
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo?
I think the only question that remains for me on a total unfreeze today is, in all fairness to every party, the feedback of the current police chief and feedback of the potential coming police chief. I think that's the missing part. In part of my decision is binding the next police chief to a brand new hire for that lieutenant position. It's a weird dynamic that we're at this moment, but I did want to make sure to voice that aspect of concern for what a future police chief's desires would be. If they vary or not, is up to that chief. And so when a comment gets made like, I want the police chief to have feedback on those things, I think that's very fair for both the current and the future. So in terms of that, do you have any feedback for us as the council of, would you want to have the incoming chief have some bearing on that decision as well.
Ooh, that's a good question, Councilman. Just like whoever sits in my seat will have quintessentially will have the opportunity to choose their people. I think the police department is professional enough, and they've been crushing it. And I think Chief Thompson and the leadership up there would, in my opinion, do a great job of whoever they chose to hire. It will be a good fit for the police department.
Understood.
So there's a motion. Do I have a second?
Sorry, I keep having questions, and I don't mean to drag this out. The primary reason behind freezing this position and the desire of the council at the time was strictly based on the financial position that we may be in if we had to stand up our own dispatch, and where money could be allocated from. And that was, for lack of a better term, that was a logical first place to look, was within the affected departments. Obviously, with the dynamic changing, these are concerns that are still there, but I think we're making headway in terms of what our counterparts at the county were looking for in terms of good faith measures to move towards a dispatch agreement. Have you had any discussion with that side of the fence on restoring, or can we all go have that discussion in the near future? I think we've done a lot to chip away at what their desires have been in a lot of ways, and I think we're ready to have that discussion as well.
Okay. So if memory serves me correctly, I was told to not reach out, that you guys were going to work on that. Wasn't that Councilman Harjo the sentiment?
Mayor, the sentiment in my request was that none of us go unilaterally to go do that aspect of it, including you or us. And obviously, we need that dispatch agreement in its full power as it was. Budgeting aside, those kind of things, like this is a matter of practical application and public safety. If I had any request at this juncture is, we should, as a unified front, go discuss that topic with the county.
Copy that. Okay.
Mayor,
Councilman Brennan.
I agree with Councilman Harjo. The work of the council has shown some progress in that direction towards potentially getting our dispatch agreement back in some aspect. Although the county has not made any indications that will come true. But I think we've done started our process of, as Councilman Harjo said, the good faith measures to try to get there. So I do believe we will get it back, but I have not been told that. I don't have any evidence of that. I just think it's the right thing to do, and with both parties coming to the table, I think we will eventually get it back. But again, I keep caveating that as I can't prove that, and I don't have any evidence of that. It's at this spot just a gut feeling. As we did talk about, though, a lot of these measures, like freezing this position, were to help safeguard some funding or future funding so that we can pay for that if we need to. And we are by no ways out of the water on that yet.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Garvey.
Okay, guys, here's the deal. I understand the sentiment of trying to put some money aside, but that's why we have contingency funds, right? So those funds are put aside to aid in some of these issues that we might have, such as no dispatch agreement. But for us to freeze a position in a much needed area of the police department is not, it's hurting everybody. It's hurting the department. Like, I get we need to save money. We don't even know how much it's going to cost. But in the short term, the police department is not operating at full capacity. We need to allow them to operate at full capacity. They are our public safety. We now know we don't have a chief for a little while. We have contingency funds. We have several $100,000 in contingency funds. That's what that money's set aside for, is incidentals such as no dispatch agreement.
Mayor.
We can't keep holding this $50,000 over the police department's head. It's
Council,
not fair to them.
Councilwoman Workla?
Councilwoman Garvey, I agree. The money thing, I think we're figuring that out because of council taking the initiative to meet with the county and try to build that relationship back up with the current animal MOU. I think we are on the right track for that. However, I do think the incoming chief should have a say on who he wants as his next in command. And I believe the position needs to be filled ASAP. I think if the new chief comes in within a matter of, let's say, next month, hopefully, if that's something that could happen, then let that person decide who they want as their lieutenant. The reason why I say that is because when I was a first sergeant for the 116th ASOS, and the commander that was coming in, he was so PO'd that the commander that was leaving assigned his first sergeant. And he just like, I should be able to assign my next in command. I should be able to assign my next first sergeant. And so then when he was in command, that first sergeant ended up leaving right away. And he was able to hire the one that he wanted to be in command with him as the triad there. So that's where I'm leaning. I think that it should be the next person coming in. But that's why I think there's validity to Councilman Harjo's question on what's that timeline look like. And that's why, like, if there's a date, can you give a date on when you might do the interviews?
Yeah, we're once we get I feel a few active pool to start having chief look at. I think and he's been gone, so once he gets back, he can start going through those applications. So I can't give a specific date at this time.
Mayor?
Councilwoman Garvey?
Okay, so I understand the sentiment of the new police chief picking his people. However, the new police chief is going to come here. He's not going to know anybody, potentially. He could be from out of state. And so how's he fairly going to make an accurate pick of who he wants as a lieutenant when he's new to the operation? So let the police department decide, because they work with these guys every day. And what if it takes 6 months to fill the chief position? Now we've got Ty busting his butt every day by himself. What if it takes 6 months? It's not necessarily the easiest thing to onboard a chief of police.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Workla?
do you know how many applications there are right now that have been submitted?
Do you know?
I don't know the total number, but I know there's only, I think, 2 that have credentials.
Credentials?
I'd say there's no more than 10.
So there's been a motion. Do I have a second to unfreeze the position?
Mayor, could you repeat what Tiffany said? I couldn't hear her.
Tiff said she thinks there's 2 that have the credentials, but no more than 10.
No more than 10. Okay.
Councilman Harjo?
Mayor, obviously we have a lot of questions still looming. My gut instinct says that the incoming police chief should have a say, but there is a balance to be had in this moment and a changing dynamic. Councilwoman Garvey does have a point in the sense that there are contingency funds. The cost of a dispatch center or standing up an operation has been kind of stated as anywhere from several $1,000s and just an operational change in who and when picks up the phone and how that gets communicated to the officers and to PD leadership, all the way up to several $1,000,000 to stand up our own, and a significant amount of understanding that we need to build in what we are legally allowed to do by state law. That being said, I am very hopeful that this process does move swiftly. We are able to find a chief that fits well to our job posting, and the lieutenant position here is needed. I as well do not want to see Lieutenant Larson being worked to the bone over the next few months here as this process moves on. I'll state that I want to make sure that we're being fair to everybody, but I also think that we have a lot of work to do to work back towards a dispatch. I will second Councilwoman Garvey's motion for today, and then ask, not as a part of the motion, but ask Mayor that we schedule a meeting with the County Commission and go discuss dispatch.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.